I'm a Raider, Oakland Raider, from the Bay to LA to Las Vegas.
Just
I'm
win,
a
baby.
player, a boss player, and if you with me, pop your collar, shake them haters. I'm a Raider, Oakland Raider, from the Bay to LA to Las Vegas. Cause I'm a player, boss player, and if you with me, pop your collar, shake them haters. I'm a Raider.
What's going on, Raider Nation? Welcome back to the Real Raiders podcast. I'm your host, Victor Freeze. Fortunately, I do not have my co-host this week, Mariano. We miss you, man. You know, hope to see you back next week. I know you'll be back next week, but we'll see you back next week. But for now on, the show must go on. You know, this week, I got 3 segments, it looks like, for you guys. So we're going to touch on the news and notes of the week amongst the Raider Nation. You know, quick bits to update you on any information that you missed. And then after that, we're going to go through post-game reaction, I guess you could say, of the Baltimore Ravens game. And then finally, we're going to do a preview like we did last week of our game against the Steelers this week. So it's going to be a lot to talk about. I'm not going to try to waste too much time, so let's get to it. First of all, we signed Clinton Dix to the practice squad. It's not really a big move. The man hasn't played football since 2019. I think if the Raiders did this and signed a safety for safety depth, they might as well just kept Carl Joseph. To me, I don't know why they cut Carl Joseph. The next thing, the most important thing, is the injuries that are piling up on our team. So the 2 main ones are Gerald McCoy and Denzel Good. Both suffered knee injuries on Monday night and are unfortunately done for the season. Marcus Mariota also appeared to suffer a quad injury on that one play he was in. And Yannick Ngakoue is, he's teetering right now. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play this week against the Steelers? He's dealing with a hamstring injury. So since we have, the offensive guard and the defensive line position that needs to be addressed, there were 2 moves that happened. We signed Jordan Simmons from the Seahawks practice squad. He had 6 starts last season with the Seahawks. And then we signed Damian Square from the Bears practice squad. This is a Gus Bradley guy. So he's a rotational D lineman that has played under Gus Bradley. In the coinciding move, we released Madre Harper, which, he's been around the Raiders organization since last season as an undrafted free agent. Unfortunate to see him go. So, for me, I would want to see some veteran presence come in. I think the D-line is better off than the guard position is. So for the guard position, I would like to see a veteran like Joe Dahl, who previously played with the Lions, or a familiar face in Kelechi Osemele. Bring them back and hold down the guard position because, John Simpson, and then who's that one guy? I forget his name. He's not that important to me. He's depth at this point. I just don't, I would rather have that veteran presence. I forgot. Starts with a J though. Someone could tell me who he is later, but I'll look it up. I just forget. He's just such a newer player to me. So, these 2 players that I mentioned, graded out as average guards, yes, but I think the position would be better in the hands of some veterans, as opposed to this other player who was, of course, Tom Cable trusted him as our depth, but to me personally, I'd be more comfortable with one of these guys I just named. Moving on from that, Darius Philon seems to be dealing with some injury. That is new to me too. I, however, think Quentin Jefferson and Jonathan Hankins have the ability to hold down the defensive tackle position. Cleveland Farrell is also dealing with a back injury. And, that's going to be huge, especially if Yannick Ngakoue doesn't play this week. we really need Klee to, be on the field because, Carl Nassib did good, but there's a reason why he's a rotational player. He's not a starter for us. He's our fourth defensive end. We don't want to be down to our fourth defensive end against such a great team like the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then last but not least is Josh Jacobs injured. We know he had that steel shoe. He was dealing with some injuries. He didn't look good running the ball to be honest, against the Ravens. He had a tough day. He only ran for 32 yards, something like that. Is he going to start this week? Is he going to sit out? Is this going to be a Kenyon Drake game, I'll talk about more of that later. So, now that we're done with those little news and notes, let's move on to the post-game, reaction against the Ravens. So, to me, this is one of the craziest games I've seen as a Raiders fan. It's up there with the Kansas City Chiefs with Michael Crabtree catching the ball. We had 3 chances to win the game. Last season we beat the Chiefs. Those are the ones that just come off the top of my head. Those are probably the craziest games I've seen. All the games I've been to the stadium have always been fun to me, but this one is up there. Especially to start the season on Monday Night Football. We lost the game. We won the game like 4 times. It was like so back and forth, But that's the thing I noticed. When the Raiders are good, all the wins are going to be close for us, though. I feel like we played to the ability of the team that we're playing against. That's why it's always, really close like that. I had the Raiders winning 28-17 previously on the last week's podcast. But Lamar's too good for that. He's a game changer, and you can see he's one of the most electrifying quarterbacks in the business. He had our defense looking stupid on some plays. So, I did like defensive performance this game, especially the defensive line, man. They were getting after it. They were after Lamar. I love Gus Bradley's defense. I love, as long as the front 4 get there, we do not have to make so many blitzes, and we did that. We did our job this week, and I'm optimistic for the defense for the rest of the season, to be honest, from what I saw week 1. One thing I did notice, we were force-feeding Darren Waller. I don't want that to happen week in, week out, and I'll touch more on that when I talk about the pregame matchup against the Steelers, but I do not want us to force-feed Darren Waller week in, week out. We can't do that. You're going to be one-dimensional. Can't do that. All right, that's it. That's all I got for the post-game reaction. Going on to the pre-game matchup against the Steelers. So, this rivalry, dating back to 2010, we are 3-2 against the Steelers. And one thing that we do know is that these games are always close. They have been, aside from one game, they have all been decided by literally a field goal. So, I think we're in for a good one this week. The key to winning this game is in the trenches. I know we say that a lot, but every game is damn near one in the trenches, but this game, more importantly, I think is one in the trenches. The D-line still needs to get pressure without Unique Ngakoue and Gerald McCoy this week. Unique is on the fence, so hopefully he plays, and then Cleveland Farrell is another thing. So, it might be hard to get pressure this week, to be honest. The good news is that Pittsburgh's offensive line was struggling last week. The only other thing is that Big Ben gets the ball out very fast. You guys saw it last week. He was quick passes. He didn't throw many deep passes. So, can we get after the quarterback this week? It's going to be a major question. One thing on our side is that the Pittsburgh Steelers O-line has been struggling. Najee did not run for that much last week. So, the next thing is, can our offensive line hold up against Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt? They have a better pass rush than the Baltimore Ravens have. And I think they have an overall better defense than the Baltimore Ravens have. We can't continue to make these mistakes. We saw Leatherwood make some mistakes. It almost cost us the game. And, the offense has to gel better. We can't do those fumble snaps. None of that stuff this week. There's only so much room for error, especially going up against a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a playoff team year in and year out. So all these mistakes are what cost you the game. And we have backups at guard, especially Incognito's looking out to be this another week. We have John Simpson and I forgot the other dude's name. Sorry. You guys look him up. He came in last game too. He's a death piece. I forget his name. So he wasn't that important to me, to be honest to you guys. But can we hold up against their defensive line? Because they're one of the best defensive fronts in the game. I think one thing we need to do is spread the defense out, since we're dealing with so much issues on the line right now. Get the ball out of Carr's hands quick. Do not let him hold on to the ball. One thing, it might be tough running the ball this game, especially with Josh Jacobs having his toe injuries and issues that he did last week. Like I said, he only had 34 rushing yards, and I don't see it getting better this week. We might see a Kenyon Drake game. I anticipate Kenyon Drake having more carries this game, just because of the situation that Josh is dealing with. But definitely, whoever wins in the trenches wins this game hands down. That's it. And one of the keys for our team, maybe even the Steelers too, is getting the ball out quick, spreading out the defense. It's kind of got to mirror each other. Whoever, like I said, very minimal mistakes, and the team that makes those mistakes beats themselves this week. Do I think the Raiders can get this? Yes, but we have to play very clean football. We have to play smart football. John Gruden is capable of that. Unfortunately, I think the Steelers edge us out by a field goal this week. They're just a more experienced team. They're more, they've been to more playoff games. They've been under Mike Tomlin for longer than we have John Gruden. So, unfortunately, I got us taking the L this week. I love the Raider Nation, but I'm here to be honest with y'all too, man. I can't lie to y'all about this. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if I'm wrong about this. Let me know what you guys think. And that's all I got for you guys this week. This concludes the Real Raiders podcast. Forgot to mention last week that we do have a call-in number. So I'm going to pop the number right here. So drop all your questions, comments, anything you want to say on the show. You get featured on the show. Obviously next week. And we'll put in an audio or picture or whatever you do. You could text or call this number and it will be featured on the show. As far as that, appreciate you, Raider Nation, for rocking with this channel. This always does amazing. I love doing videos for this channel, and I can't wait to keep it going all season long. This is the Real Raiders, and we are out of here.